Good morning. It is 10:13 a.m. on Monday, August 24th, 2020. I'm Christiana Ellis and I just got up. This is 5 more minutes. So, why is it after 10 and I'm only just getting up on a Monday? Well, this week with my work schedule would be a week that if I need to go on site, I can only do it in the evening shift. And I do need to do that today. Although probably for the rest of the week I may be able to work from home and be back on a more normal schedule. But for at least today, I do need to go into the office and can't do so until 3:30. So I was also getting up later than usual because I was up late last night, not just from the ordinary sort of staying up too late just by virtue of fussing around doing dumb stuff and not going to bed, but because I had actually scheduled a curated play session. I shouldn't say I scheduled it. I signed up for a scheduled one with Magpie Games because they're the ones that are producing the new RPG for Root, which I believe I've talked about once or twice before on these videos. Root started as a board game that's kind of a strategy game for control of the woodlands where the various factions are all different animals, and the art style and aesthetic is sort of a slightly more cutesy version of Disney's Robin Hood in terms of it's got a no magic sort of fantastical setting, and then anthropomorphic animals like Disney's Robin Hood, for example, or Mouse Guard, or Redwall, like that sort of thing. And that's the setting, and it's very cute and cool, and it's kind of got a neat world to it. And so there's a strategy board game based on that, but now they're coming out with an RPG based on that as well. So there's a quick start available that came out. There was a Kickstarter, and so you had some starter rules there, and then there was a quick start that came out as part of Free RPG Day just a couple weeks ago. But through their website, they were having, you could sign up and pay $12 to play in a game of some of their games, and one of them was Root. And so I was thinking, that's what I would like to do, because I'm interested in that game. I was thinking I might run it at some point, but I'd never played a Powered by the Apocalypse game before. What does that mean? If you're not familiar with RPGs, Powered by the Apocalypse is a game system that's based originally on a game called Apocalypse World. And so the original game Apocalypse World had its own sort of setting and special rules, but the basic mechanics of it were then essentially released so that other games could make their own game loosely based on the same basic mechanics. And so Root is going to be one of those. And the way those generally work is that the GM doesn't ever roll dice. It's only the players. Players make their characters based on different playbooks, which are like different character classes, and the playbooks have different moves they can do. And generally, compared to, say, Dungeons and Dragons, it's very fiction forward. Namely, you're supposed to really, rather than just say, well, what move do you do in this situation, you're supposed to just keep describing what you do as though you're just narrating the fiction of it, and then only when what you are wanting to do qualifies as what one of the moves is, then you roll. And the rolls are all 2d6 plus whatever your relevant stat is. And so those are the basics of the rules. But in any event, I got to play in this session last night, and it was a lot of fun. I had a great time. The players were kind of a mix of people with a lot of RPG experience, and we had one person who is a newbie to it, and it was a lot of fun. Everyone really got into their characters, and for a one-shot, we really got to feel like we did sort of a complete little arc that felt really epic. And as players, our characters managed to avoid combat for the most part. Like, there was definitely some conflict and tension, but we didn't ever really just settle into, and now we are fighting for the next half hour. It was always like trying to diffuse or find ways around it, and it, like, one of the things we talked about post game was just that we didn't really get to see very many of the combat mechanics because we kept avoiding it, but we were all so happy with how the story had gone regardless. So I played Elora, who was probably the quickest way for you to all imagine Elora is that she is Brienne of Tarth as a badger. And so her, she was coming back to this particular clearing knowing that she, as a child, had been friends with the children of the local noble family, but then because the father in charge of that noble family had didn't like that his children were playing with a peasant, basically exiled Elora, and so she is just wandered the wilderness ever since, like as a vagabond, which is kind of the game's term for adventurers, but is returning now to Pelenniki Glade because she has heard that that particular father has died. And so there's a lot of uncertainty about what will happen with that clearing, but she wants to know what happened to her childhood friends. Could they still be friends? Are they still people that she would want to have as friends? And so that's kind of was the setup. And it was just a lot of fun. I had a great time. I definitely recommend that if you wanted, so magpiegames.com has a bunch of these curated play sessions, and I really enjoyed it. So I recommend those. Anyway, I will leave it there for now, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow for 5 more minutes.